Our esteemed guests will inaugurate Invincible City from Penprints Publication. I also request Sreetanwi Chakraborty to take initiative in this occasion.
It feels so good to be back 5 years after the launch of my last book. Today, this opportunity has been given to us by Penprints Publication. Thank you so much, Penprints. Now this time, as we were just showing you a while ago, Rajib Dey, my former colleague, a dear friend and photographer, and I have made a photo book. And this is something that we hope it becomes a commemorative collector's edition because it has 75 photographs to celebrate 75 years of Indian independence. So the photographs are about 1990s Calcutta. But does that mean that this is just a piece of history? The answer would be a resounding no. Because a good photograph might record a specific point in time, as you all agree, would have a definite element of timelessness. So when Rajib came to me with this photo book idea, the photos are all his, the thoughts are mine, they are not descriptions of the photographs like some media has reported. None of that is a description because good photographs don't need descriptions. So a photograph is like a poem. We have famous poets here, so they would agree with me that you can have as many interpretations of a photograph as there are viewers. So when I looked at these photographs, and I was supposed to put in words because words are all I have to take your breath away, I realized that I was not just looking at a photograph of a 90s Bangladeshi refugee family on the pavements of Kolkata. I was also looking at Alan Kurdi. I don't know if you remember him. He was a little boy who washed up on the Turkish coast. He was a Syrian refugee trying to escape to a Greek island. He didn't make it. I'm also reminded of Aya. I think that is how the name is pronounced. She was a newborn they dug out of the devastating earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. So when we look at these photographs, we realize that refugee crisis and homelessness are real, topical and global. So that photograph then becomes a reminder for me for all the refugees, for all the homeless people of this world. And yet, we are people who are constantly looking in search of a safe space. But what is safety? There is another instance of a photograph where I've shared this on Facebook. Some of my friends may have said it. There is another instance where a girl has been photographed sleeping on a public transport. And she has iron bars around her. And I am reminded of how women, even today, every day of their lives, they are choosing freedom and independence, often over personal safety, often rising above the shackles of social norms. And in another instance, we have a man sitting on the Kolkata Maidan in a very introspective mood. He's sitting under a tree and then he's very introspective, and you can see the roots of that tree, probably a banyan tree. It is a banyan tree, and he's sitting under it and in a very thoughtful mode, but you get to see just his back. And he has this long shikha, the curl of hair that you grow on the back of your head. We call it choti in Hindi and tiki in Bangla, for those of you who understand Bangla. And I marvel at how our roots are carried with us wherever we go. And that is how we might hold a Durga Puja in the US or a Banga Sammelan in Canada. And it's not just about people who are from Calcutta. You have people like, he's called Angus Denoon, if I know his name right. Somebody called Angus Denoon, who was a pure Britisher. He had come to Kolkata, he fell in love with the Jalmuri, and now he sells jhalmuri outside Oval and on the streets of UK. So love, longing and belonging are very powerful emotions, and those are what you would see in this photo book. And no photo book is complete, at least photo books on Kolkata I would say are not complete, without a photo of the Howrah Bridge, the iconic bridge that we have, and the river Ganga flowing under it. And that, I think, kind of sums up what Kolkata is all about. It has, its skeleton bears the strength of those steel girders of the Howrah Bridge. And the river Ganga symbolizes Kolkata in that Kolkata is as fluid as the Ganga, as changing as the Ganga. And yet, it is accepting of both filth and flowers. You may curse her, you may love her, you may break her heritage buildings or shut her factories down, but Kolkata would rise like a phoenix every time. This phenomenal woman rises always phenomenally. At the end of my speech, I would like to request all of you to go through this book, sit with it, especially when you're feeling low, because the pictures of people in this book are pictures of people who are very, very ordinary. They're people we wouldn't know, except for the fact that they found a place in this book because they refused to give up. And I think the phoenix is in all of us. We just need to give it wings. Thank you and much love for that.
The next book হচ্ছে those lockdown days by Sarmita Dey. তো সেটা হওয়ার আগে আমি স্টেজ লিভ করছি, কারণ এখানে অনেক গুণী ব্যক্তিরা রয়েছে, এখানে স্টেজের একটা কিছু হতে পারে, কাজে আমি স্টেজ লিভ করছি, আমার যখন দরকার হবে তখন আমি স্টেজে উঠে পড়বো। থ্যাংক ইউ।
She's a renowned author as well, based in Delhi. So this is a book which has poems and short stories written by me during lockdown, in 2020 to be precise. So, and this is a book which is dedicated to COVID frontline warriors, COVID survivors, and those who could not survive COVID. So today, in fact, I had my friends, my university friend Neeta Sen's father, coming over to the stall, and he's written the first story, Experience of a Survivor. So I had the privilege of meeting him today and present a copy of this book. Yes, without much ado, I'll go into one of my poems. But before that, I would like to say, yes, the lockdown was upon us, and many of us prefer to forget it. So it's up to us whether we forget it or whether we want to remember the difficult days. And
Sarmita Dey, here. Yes. Actually, we have very restricted time. Can you please read a poem from this?
Was the year all about fears, keeping us awake till the wee hours, eyes wet with tears? Was it only irritation about the isolated life that changed existing comforts, adding to our strife? The daily grind of working from home, intersected by the household chores, indeed worrisome. The discomfort of the masks hiding the face. Life during such trying times seemed to move on as if at a snail's pace. It is one life, and didn't we realize to make use of the opportunity to keep ourselves healthy and fit, to develop immunity, to ponder about mistakes, sorrows and joy, and forgive the soul-crushing hurts that only destroy. The epiphany that nature and humans are equal, to say the least. The power of prayers keeping us sane from thoughts of the deceased. We learn to battle with our struggles, the children bringing back those smiles with their chuckles. Jobs lost, businesses shut, millions helpless. Didn't we become more caring about the homeless? The world was witness to loads of creativity as each one of us filled ourselves with positivity. Teachers and their Herculean effort, working round the clock to provide to students much needed support. The frontline warriors became the true heroes. For months, their unflinching efforts reducing the world's woes. The meaning of resilience you showed the world the entire year. Hasn't the pandemic been your life's game changer? Thank you so much.
This is Sreetanwi's first novel. Yes. Yeah, it's a huge. Again, just clap again.
Since we have a paucity of time, so it really feels good that all my friends, near and dear ones, my family members are here, and I'm so happy to see you all. So Rhododendrons is basically having several layers as far as love and relationships, these two concepts are concerned. Sreetanwi, who is the protagonist, and how far her journey unfurls into the recesses of psychology and also into the very complex realms of love. So she is not perfect. You can say that it's the story of an imperfect woman, and I did not try to show any balance which she needed to make as far as her professional life or marriage was concerned. Maybe she is just like any other ordinary woman. Sreetanwi can be amongst us, she can be one of us, and just like Afroz, her lover, who can be one amongst us. So I really want all of you, I request if you can read Rhododendrons and see how in spite of all the turbulence, all the turmoils in love, we still hanker for it. Love remains in this world which is so very, it's so, there is so much fret about materialistic pleasures, sophistications, artificialities and separation, and love remains in spite of everything. Love remains in separation too. So that's it. Thank you.
Moving multitude sprawled as shadow, weary feet trudged ceaseless, body of mobile limbs faceless, denuded of that less they zealously upheld. The residual dignity of humans, tuned to the rhythm of cumbersome pace, blistered strides crush the thorns of distance at the call of a destination, lovingly etched in the heart. Weighed down with pangs of hunger, dying a silent death that entrails, an endless trail of the destitute, swarm railroads, highways, pavements, befuddled aliens in their own homeland, homebound. Their gaze replicates history in differential guise. The home awaits a knock, the mother's wait, a pious ritual. Destiny intervenes, perils of hunger, ignominy, death, expectation, encircles an infinite weight.
30 years, the sun will not cheer us, nor the wind light our face. Your hands won't find a way to clasp me, nor so close as the chicks brushing past. After 30 years, the polish on my nails would chip off, the tongue severed in my cheek. I would not wear the dew and welcome you in a garb of grass. This maddening rush will be over, bitter autumn born. Genial spring will crumble and die, empty path ensure lost memories of a fond soul. So, 30 years hence, the hunger would fade, open arms evade, the mask that would erase jovial memories which no longer would strike the dead ground. Thank you.
Thank you, Ria.
A postmodern love poem. A huge reptile hissed and crawled on its chest, putting the heaviness of its physique straight on the tessellated floor of the zoo. Cold, stony floor, dank walls, and a naked canopy above. A lover hisses when he pants for breath, immediately after his labored union with his love, lying on the bed, punctuating stillness of the room with syncopated whimpers and moans of gratification. Lover and beloved stay locked in embrace for hours together, even asking for more kisses, more togetherness, but all turn hazy, askew or high, as the picture-perfect immaculateness receives a jarring jolt near its belt, driving it to an irrevocable unconsciousness. Togetherness annuls itself on satiety. Gratification totters on the brink of a promise that is not to be kept, though made and feigned as real, though mostly unreal. Love in the era of postmodernism is like a desiccated grape that needs an overhauling. Love in the postmodern era is a sea change brought forth by varying take on emotions, passions, amorous expressions, gestures, and many a thing that come along. Love is now a bubble in the bucket, where soap suds mingle, woven are dreams. Love is now an unknown flower in a thicket, where new ideas thrive, impinged by sunbeams. Thank you very much.
He has birthed in a strange locale. They bring forth the memory of a collective chilling experience from the times when the world was suddenly collapsing around us, leaving us stranded. The only language that we had in common was that of poetry. It became a primal prayer for humankind, expressing our deepest fears and hopes. I now come to the poem, one of my poems here. It's called Fireflies. Last night, we let loose the demons within us, disturbing the fragile peace we had woven together. Our gossamer togetherness felt like a dream where you were reaching out from behind the padlock and I was trying to take your hand, desperately trying to hold on to the essence of you in my palm. Night surrounded us with her cloak of pitch black like a cover for us and our disturbed togetherness. Yet the fireflies danced around, reminding us that even if fragile and gossamer, love is always a celebration. Thank you.
So I'll read one of them. Double Helix. Read your mother's poem. You have her genes. My mother does not write. On World Poetry Day, she cooked, watched TV, and that was it. I never asked her whether she liked doing what she does. She has grown in her duties and made them her home. She never had words as comfort zone. I have my mother's genes. I am not a poet, and this is not a poem. At the crossroad, this will not pay for my coffee. It is still the 70s, and we are still unborn. Within our double helix, genes turn left and right. Which of our mothers will now become a Naxalite? Thank you.
Light thoughts. How much effort does it take to move from one to the next? The white space carries the burden of it all. Craziness, idiosyncrasies, uncertainties, insecurities, the mark of gender disparities, the sweat of an artist or an inner call. These spaces are pauses. Too active to be seen, too fragile to be shared, and in the pause are born the words that speak much more than the obvious. In between, lie 1,000 journeys folded within the unrevealed. What's unsaid weighs more than those black marks upon the white. Drudgery of penning camouflaged in the flourishing letters unconfined. Thank you.
Poetry festival in Kolkata every year, and I welcome all of you to the next festival, Chandrabhanu Poetry Festival, in the second Saturday, Sunday of January every year. Okay. I really have nothing to say except for the fact that I am very, very enamored in a sense to be here and be in the shadows of such great friends and poets. No, I really cannot say anything because I am hearing so much lovely, great poetry that I feel belittled in a sense. I'm a professor, so if you give me this thing, I will go on forever and ever. So before I start that, let me stop. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
सैनिक पहले, सिपाही उसके बाद और फिर किसानी। आज देश के बजट में शिक्षा 5वें और स्वास्थ्य 8वें स्थान पर, सैनिक पहले, सिपाही उसके बाद और फिर किसानी। खर्चे का गणित साफ है, हम लड़ेंगे पहले, खाएंगे उसके बाद, पढ़ेंगे सबसे कम और स्वस्थ तो शायद ही रह पाए। सच ही कहा है शायद विष्णु पुराण में, गायन्ति देवा की गीत गानी, धन्यास्तुते भारत भूमि भागे। देवता भी स्वर्ग में यह गान करते हैं, धन्य है वो लोग जो भारत भूमि के किसी भाग में रहते हैं, धन्य है वो लोग। उस आस की ही ज्योति में आभास सा कुछ दिखा, कृष्ण आए या नहीं उसको नहीं था कुछ पता, फिर भी उस आभास को ही मान कर अपना सखा। द्रौपदी कहने लगी अपने जीवन की व्यथा, अपने जीवन की व्यथा। कौन हूँ मैं, कौन मेरा, कौन हूँ मैं, कौन मेरा, वो जो मुझको छल गए हैं, छोड़कर मुझको अकेले स्वर्ग को जो चल गए हैं। आदेश सुनकर सास का जब 5 भागों में बटी थी, तब भी तुम्हें मैं साक्षी मान जीवन से सुखी थी। मान मेरा गिर गया था उस दिन इस संसार में, द्यूत में मुझे दांव पर जब रख दिया परिवार ने, रख दिया परिवार ने। युद्ध का कारण मुझे जो मानते हैं वो गुणी, पहले परख ले भावना जो वासना में थी सनी। तब तो कोई कुछ न बोला, सब थे बिल्कुल एक से, जब कोई मर्दन को उद्धत भाव के अतिरेक से खींच लाया केश से, एक वसना को पकड़ वस्त्र मेरे फाड़ डाले, तोड़ दी मेरी अकड़। वह अकड़ जो वीरता के बाहुओं में थी पली, क्यों भला वो चढ़ गई थी वासना की बलि। और सब वो वीर बाहें जो भरी पुरुषार्थ से, टूट कर ऐसे गिरी थी जो मलिन हो स्वार्थ से, जो मलिन हो स्वार्थ से।
And it has, as Mrityunjay was saying, it is a long way to go, but then they are doing fantastic jobs. And these books which they have brought out is really great, and I know with what a hurry they could manage a stall here, and it's doing well. I congratulate both Shupriyo and Sreetanwi for the coming time. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
I was not prepared to read poems and they have not told. So I have a Bangla poem with me.
That's fine.
I just read out that.
No, I'm very happy that people are still speaking Bangla here in Calcutta. let me tell you, I was in Kalagoda, and this year I'm not curating because next year I will come back. So I'm living Marathi Gujarati landscape, and I'm really worried about erasure of your own mother tongue, your own mother language, which is so vital. I write in English, but Amit knows me, and being critic, he can tell that I'm not an Anglophone poet. Thank you, Amit.
কবিতাটার নাম আত্মীয়তা বাঘের মতো, রিলেটিভস আর লাইক টাইগার্স। আমার কোনো আত্মীয় নেই, কিন্তু অনেকের সঙ্গেই রয়েছে জানাশোনা। এদের কেউ কেউ আমার আত্মীয় হতে পারত, কেউ কেউ আত্মীয় বলে দাবিও করে। আমি সবসময় এদেরকে বোঝাতে চেয়েছি জানাশুনো থাকলেই যে আত্মীয় হবে বা আত্মীয় হলেই যে জানাশোনা থাকবে এমন কোনো সরল রৈখিক জ্যামিতি মেনে সম্পর্ক নির্ধারিত হয় না। যেমন কোন নদীর সঙ্গে নিয়ে আসবে জোয়ার, কোন নদী চলতে চলতে কখন যাবে হারিয়ে, তার যেমন কোনো পাটিগণিত হয় না, তেমন আত্মীয়তারও নির্দিষ্ট সংজ্ঞা বলে কিছু নেই। তবু কেউ কেউ কাউকে কাউকে ভাবে আত্মীয়, আরো কেউ কেউ আরো কাউকে কাউকে ভাবে আত্মীয়ের অধিক। কেউ কেউ ভাবে কারো কারো সঙ্গে রয়েছে জানাশোনা, কারো কারো জানাশোনা থেকে তৈরি হয় আত্মীয়তা, কারো কারো কুকুর বেড়ালের সঙ্গেও আত্মীয়তা হয়, কারো কারো কাঠ বেড়ালি বা খরগোশের সঙ্গে, কারো কারো জানাশোনা পাশাপাশি দীর্ঘদিন থেকে যাওয়া দুটো গ্যালাক্সির মতন, কেউ কারো দিকে একটুও এগিয়ে আসতে পারে না। আমার অনেক জানাশোনা সত্ত্বেও আত্মীয়ের মতো কাউকে দেখলে সতর্ক হয়ে পড়ি। আমার দীর্ঘ অভিজ্ঞতায় দেখেছি আত্মীয়তা বাঘের মতন, একবার ধরলে না খেয়ে ছাড়বে না।
I won't say much. I must my sincere thanks to Penprints and Sreetanwi for having me. Tibetan prayer flags wind at 12 noon. The sun is mildly out of tune, like a weak trumpet in an opera. A few shops still sell local Roxy liquor, and the loud scent of December swallows up the sleepy mist and the redness of geranium saplings on wooden tubs in Delhi in Kalimpong. Walking along the jagged cliff like a local guide without a job during quarantine, I stroll and I do not look back on anything. The track is deeply settled with deafening silence of the lonely pine trees and steep Afid, the old solitary monastery on the cliff, indifferently looks at me, and I look at it hard. Our eyes lock like fellow historians, now retired. I knock at its ornate sandalwood door. Sandalwood essentially knows how to engage stars, the universe, and all the metaphors of a yellow afternoon old on a hilltop. The scented heavy door I have always smelled on my palms for long is now closed. Nobody lives there anymore. Thank you.
And I thank you very much because Jayanta loved, that river poem. And that poem, the single poem, I tell you when I was a little kind of apprehensive about it because those contexts, those circumstances of lockdown and etc. and part of many global anthologies here and all over the world, contributed. So at one stage, I don't want to name, a very big, powerful publishing house told me, Ashwani, what are you doing with this, kind of very Maori project, it's kind of fantasy project of 15 languages, 30 translators of repute, including Jayanta Mahapatra, Anamika. You can imagine, in this anthology, I'm very privileged to have many academy winners, and also contemporary and young poets from 15 languages. I'm limited, Mrityunjay is part of our journey, Amit is part of the journey, and I'm spiritual that way, because for me, this collage of poetry, the rivers going home, is a very spiritual journey. I mean, like, at the end of poetry, if that transcendence is not there, I mean, like, quoting Auden, what is there? I mean, like, what is there? The other day, Mani Rao, very, widely well-known poet, who works on his spiritual poetry too. We're all talking about, what is the end result of the poetry? What is the end purpose of, or what is the theology of poetry? It's not that the politics, It's not that the politics. And it's about translation. It's about, friendship, solidarity, love and affection between languages, amongst languages. That's where my whole project, Indian Novels Collective and Kitab Khana, we got together and we forced, perhaps this is maybe in India's first Instagram reading. If you can Google, it was widely covered, and thereafter, we are humble enough. We are in, sort of Marathi, so even we do things, we never speak about us. I mean, that's a tradition, old Bhakti tradition in Maharashtra. Write poem, Tukaram will never go around talking about herself, And so I'm not going to talk about, much about what I did, but I did with you. I mean, like, you are the 71 poet. Maybe, as Menka already announced at Kalagoda that, there will be next edition of 71 poets. So let's see in how many languages, how many things, how many different ways we can do. This is about translation. It is about translation. This is about where Arundhati wrote, this blurb, if you read Sachidanandan and Brian Turner. I mean, like T.S. Eliot, a very powerful American poet, a part of our journey. So all these rivers, I guess, and there were, I'm thanking Amit, because I want to single him out. So while I was looking for the title, so it just struck, because this book is about not mighty rivers. This book is not mighty in the sense of metaphor, mighty in the sense of power, mighty in the sense of tyranny. So I remembered, that was forced out of me by Amit, a piece that I did with a letter of Jayanta Mahapatra, small rivers, small rivulets, small streams. Going back to linguistic, which I don't teach, unfortunately, so don't be at university where you are not supposed to do what you are actually good at doing. So I went to the speech consciousness. This is again Bangla tradition, the super consciousness. So if you look at Paramhan's tradition or Aurobindo tradition, ultimately our speech is super consciousness. So these rivers are those metaphors, and this is where when you read it, you will find Jivananandan. I mean, like, many of my English poets are surprised, so-called francophone, anglophone, whatever phone they have, cell phone or whatever poets they are. I mean, like, these are anthropologically suspect categories, please. If you're a young writer, a new writer, and if you're grounded into that, like we co-curate, Chandrabhanu Festival, honor, the work of Chandrabhanu, the house of, Jayanta Mahapatra, the iconic journal of Jayanta Mahapatra, which speaks to all languages, and all generations, without any hierarchies. So rivers are here, rivers are also, to conclude this, rivers are also about, music, raga, which Mrityunjay did fantastically, I guess. And this was clue to me to understand life of my beloved friend Mangleshwara, iconic poet, Perhaps the poet who gave us voice, the poet who gave us, power in the poetry, to resist domination, to resist tyranny, under all difficult circumstances. Back to here to conclude, rivers going home, they are not coming home. That's it. I mean, like, I've been asked this question again and again at different forums. I've been, releasing this book, this anthology dedicated to all of you, not just 71, every poet here, sitting here in this room and elsewhere. Why rivers are not coming home? They won't come home. They won't come home. They go home. And if you're a Bengali, you know where I'm going, In fact, Tagore loved river, Tagore loved river. And I'm told Tagore's brother, met Lalan Fakir actually on the boat, That's my reference point. So when I meet my death, and the death asks me, what would you want to say? I would say that I would love to live in the works of people and the writers and the poets Amit, because they are the future. They are my boatman. Thank you very much, everyone. my craft, evolving craft over the last 30 years, from visible to invisible and invisible to visible. A book of rains, and this is very Indian poem, and this is also very Bangla poem sort of thing. Maybe when it's translated, I will share this Bangla translation. These days, I long to write a book of rains. These days, I long to write a book of rains. Rains are like mural wounds. Rains are like mural wounds from which happiness flows, speaking to us in the same tongue, but in various languages of season. Humming in myriad sounds of wild geese and clear sky, morning rains are seeds of life pouring over women in past lands who scramble to collect forgotten love songs in pots and pitchers. Afternoon rains are old poems on a blank page, turning docile, stammering at the knife point of murderers before they crawl back into sun-roofed mud houses for untimely siesta. Evening rains come in dancing figures, star-naked peacocks with sapphire anklet shiver in the fog's starter-like corner. The secret illusion of another sky bursting out on the distant indigo hills. Night rains are like embroidered brows of courtesans with rounded breasts, spurting incessantly into deep-throated cones, slaying fears of Leozen with veiled joys from moonlight till dewlight. A manna on my morning prayer mat, a manna on my morning prayer mat sings, I am raining, I am writing, I am raining, I am writing. Thank you very much.
Thanks to all.